A Portland doctor on probation following a review with the Maine Medical Board. Now the family of one of his former patients is seeking answers. WMTW News 8's Courtney Sturgeon joining us live in the studio with why the family wants to prevent him from practicing in the state. Courtney?
David, Dr. Reynaldo de los Heros is a board-certified psychiatrist in Portland. The Maine Board of Licensure in Medicine says he's on probation following the investigation of a complaint by the family of one of his former patients. The family has reached out to us to share her story and get answers from the state medical board.
The officer told me that there were tons of pill bottles all around her and all prescribed from one doctor. So.
And who was that doctor?
Dr. Reynaldo de los Heros.
Kelly Deo died last April after overdosing on prescription medications in her Westbrook apartment. Nearly a year later, Shayla Marquis of Seabrook, New Hampshire, says her sister's death could have been prevented.
I believe that all the medications that he had put onto her were hugely impacting her health.
Marquis and her mother Elizabeth started looking into Deo's medical records following her death. They knew of Deo's struggles with drug addiction and history of mental illness, but say she was turning her life around. And then, in April of last year, she overdosed on prescription medication. The suicide happened about a month after she started seeing Dr. Reynaldo de los Heros.
He didn't really know anything about Kelly.
According to the Maine Board of Licensure in Medicine, Dr. de los Heros has been practicing psychiatry in Maine since 2006.
I know that Dr. de los Heros had several actions against him prior to coming to Maine, and I know from reading the documents that one of the things that the board looked at was that the original state that disciplined him had given him his license back to practice.
Medical records show de los Heros has been licensed to practice psychiatry in New Hampshire, Massachusetts, North Carolina, and Maine. Maine board records show in 1997 he was convicted of Medicaid billing fraud, which led to the loss of his license in Massachusetts and North Carolina. New Hampshire's medical board says they eventually reached a settlement with the doctor, and he surrendered his license there as well. In a statement released today from de los Heros' attorney, his lawyer says the prior disciplinary actions in other states that have been mentioned related to billing and coding practices occurring nearly 20 years ago are not relevant to the question of whether Dr. de los Heros' care of this patient was consistent with the standard of care. In 2009, there was a complaint filed against him which resulted in his work being restricted under a consent agreement, though it's not clear what the basis for that complaint was.
And again, I can't answer that specifically.
His full license was reinstated in 2010. Deo's family filed a complaint with the Maine Board of Licensure in Medicine against de los Heros in 2015. The investigation resulted on de los Heros being placed on probation. The board found that his records did not show evidence of conversations with the patient about responses to questionnaires, coordination of care with other providers, and the patient being informed of coverage while Dr. de los Heros was on vacation. While he's on probation for 6 months, he will be required to meet with a supervisor weekly to review patient records.
This will allow him to continue practicing safely so that there's no harm to patients.
His attorney says the tragic loss of this patient has been devastating, and Dr. de los Heros continues to express his sincere condolences to her family during this difficult time.
The day Kelly died, a piece of me died.
Now, at the end of that 6-month probation period, Dr. de los Heros will have to meet with the state medical board once again. Live in the studio, Courtney Sturgeon, WMTW News 8.